Are you looking for a budget gaming laptop? I went on a mission to find the cheapest gaming laptop I could, and since there aren't many deals in low price range, I picked up the HP Victus for just $500. Hit the like button and let's see if it's actually worth the price. I got this one from Walmart, but I found it on Amazon and Best Buy as well. The laptop arrived pretty fast, the packaging is on point, and the box looks nice. Inside we have the laptop itself, the power cord with the charger, and the manual. Very simple. The laptop weighs around 5 pounds, and it is 15.6 inch in diagonal, so it's pretty compact. I'm also surprised with the charger size. It is 135 watts with a barrel jack, and it's not bulky at all. The whole case is made of black plastic with matte finish. We have a glossy logo on top, and on the bottom we have a wide cooling open-X area, which is an intake, and exhaust is on the back. I like the wide rubber legs, they elevate the laptop for better cooling and dump any micro vibrations. I also like simple look of the laptop. Let's do one hand test like it's a MacBook. It almost passed, but that's a no. Anyway, let's connect the charger and power it up. It started right away, we have Windows 11 on the board, and while it is updating, let's check the ports. On the left side we have a power port, USB, audio jack, and SD card reader. And on the right side we have an HDMI, USB, Ethernet and Type-C port. Very nice config. The SD card reader is a huge plus for me. Type-C port doesn't support charging, but it supports video output, which is nice. The keyboard here feels sturdy, I like the clear font, and it has a simple white backlight. The touchpad is actually pretty usable, it is wide and feels very much like the ones on office laptops. Moving to the screen, it is 15.6 inches, Full HD with 144Hz refresh rate. It is also IPS, so we get good viewing angles, and brightness is adjustable. It's not very bright on max level, but it will do well in most cases. I also noticed that the colors are more to the warmer side here. On top of the screen we have 720p webcam with the mic, which is good enough for meetings or classes. Most laptops have been sitting in warehouses long time, so Windows 11 is still updating. Once it booted into Windows, we are greeted by the Omen app. This is the app where you can monitor hardware and change performance modes. We have Eco, Quiet, and Default, and we can also set fans to the max speed. Default is our high performance mode here. Let's finish up all the updates and take a look at the specs. On the board we have a Ryzen 5 7535HS, which is a 6-core 12-thread CPU with 3.3 GHz base frequency and 16MB of L3 cache. It also has a Radeon graphics, which runs the Windows system by default. Next we have 8GB of DDR5 memory, which works on 4800 MHz frequency in single channel. Even here you can see that 8GB is really not enough. We will get back to this later. For the storage we have a 500GB SSD, which turns out to be a Gen 4 with good speeds. That's a bare minimum amount, especially for gamers, but I would say it's manageable. Next we have a Wi-Fi 6, and finally our dedicated GPU, Radeon RX 6550M. This is an entry-level GPU, it has only 4GB of GDDR6 VRAM, which is not ideal for heavy games, but we'll see how it performs in the test. After using this laptop for a bit in office tasks, I can say it's pretty good, except you can feel the 8GB RAM limit at times. Let's not forget about the battery. I set the laptop in quiet mode with max brightness and got this. It charges to 50% in 40 minutes, and the full battery handled YouTube on max brightness and volume for 2.5 hours. If you plan to use it for the whole day in school, for example, it can probably do better with eco mode, but I would not leave the charger behind. I updated the AMD drivers, so let's run a couple of benchmarks, testing everything with default mode and fans on max. In Cinebench our CPU scored 10,200 points, and in 3D Mark the laptop scored 4,669 points. Nice results for the entry-level gaming laptop. Moving to the games, in Valorant with the medium settings getting stable at around 170 FPS. We can even max out the settings here, and in that case getting pretty much the same at around 170 FPS. In CS with a high preset getting 50 to 70 FPS range. It's not a really smooth experience, but I then set a competitive settings and got 80 plus most of the time. Moving to Fortnite with a performance preset 100% 3D getting 100 to 120 FPS range. There are some macro freezes, but overall the game runs well. With a recommended preset, which is DirectX 12, 75% 3D, low settings, you are getting better visuals with the FPS at around 100 100. In this case, micro freezes are entirely gone after some time. In Apex Legends, with the competitive settings, which are high textures and effects on low, getting over 100 FPS most of the time. The frame time graph looks great, so the game runs very smoothly. I tried running Warzone, but with 8GB of RAM it's crashing every time. PUBG on the other hand runs well. On low settings, 100% render scale, getting 60 to 80 FPS range. I would say that for the cheapest gaming laptop, it handles online games pretty well. Every time you open the game, the laptop frees RAM, which helps, but as you can see it's still an issue in demanding or just badly optimized games. Many single player games wouldn't even start with 8GB of RAM, but let's see what we can get. In Elden Ring with high settings and no motion blur, getting 50 plus FPS most of the time, with drops to 40 in loaded scenes. Overall the game runs smoothly and definitely playable. Moving to Days Gone Remastered, here with medium preset, getting 60 plus FPS, but the frame time is not stable. You can feel the micro freezes. With the low preset, frame time is more stable and FPS now stays at around 80. In RoadCraft, which is a recent release, with low preset, FSR free in balanced mode and frame generation on, getting around 65 FPS. Usually with frame generation you can feel a slight delay, but here it works really well. Let's try Cyberpunk. With the medium preset and FSR in auto mode, I got 61 average FPS. The benchmark shows 4 FPS lows, but the game itself runs fine. FPS mostly stays 50 plus, with the drops to around 40 in loaded scenes. In demanding games like this, CPU temperature after some time climbs to 90 and GPU to 80. Not ideal, but it's not critical. I was testing in a very hot room too. The fans work in max mode and here's how they sound. The keyboard does not get hot, just a little warm, but the plastic feels hot on the edge. 8GB of RAM limits the games, but you can still play many games on this laptop. So for the $500 budget, I'd say it's worth it. However, I found the same laptop versions with 16GB of RAM, which cost $70 more. Some even come with more storage. Let's see if we can upgrade this. On the bottom it has 7 Phillips head screws. I removed them easily with a small screwdriver. They are the same size and there is no hidden screws under the rubber, which is a W design. Now just need to unclip the panel. I use the metal pry tool to get the gap and then use the guitar pick. It's not easy, especially if you don't want to leave scratches. I found that doing it in this motion makes it easier. Inside we have a 2 turbine fans, Wi-Fi card, our M.2 SSD, and here are 2 RAM slots. I don't have another 8GB DDR5 stick, so I'm gonna install a single 16GB stick to see how it would perform. If the 16GB version of this laptop comes with a dual channel RAM, you'll get 5 to 10 FPS more than me. If you're upgrading your laptop, definitely plan to install 2 sticks to get a dual channel. The laptop started right away and the RAM works on 4800 MHz. The RAM I installed can work on 5600 MHz, but there is no control over this in BIOS. Let's run through online games again, and as you can see, all of them now have more than 8GB of RAM in use. This improves overall game stability, texture loading, and results in more average FPS and better frame time. The laptop is now able to run Warzone, and with the recommended preset for visual quality, I'm getting around 55 FPS most of the time, with the drops to low 40s in loaded scenes. If you switch FSR to balanced mode, you can get more stable, around 60 FPS. Big difference in single player games. In Elden Ring's loaded scenes, FPS doesn't drop that much now and we have a better frame time. In Days Gone Remastered, I also got more stable FPS, same settings in both cases, and you can see how much better the frame time graph looks on 16GB of RAM. In Cyberpunk benchmarks, I also got more low and high FPS values. Let's not forget that 16GB allows us to play more games. In The Last of Us Part 2, with a low preset and FSR free in balanced mode, getting 50 plus FPS most of the time. Despite the low preset, the game looks great, and you can see that the 16GB for this game is a bare minimum. Another game that can run now is Spider-Man 2. On low preset with FSR in balanced mode, I'm getting around 40 FPS here. In fights it can drop to low 30s, but if you set FSR in performance mode, FPS will stay 35 plus. So despite this being the cheapest gaming laptop I could find, it's definitely exceeded my expectations. If you have a limited budget, even an 8GB version is worth it. But if you can get extra $70, definitely go for the 16GB RAM version. It will perform much better. Hit the like button to support this video and check out this one as well.